months ago, we ventured on our very first virtual production short film, and let me be candid, the project wasn't all smooth sailing. Tracking mysteriously disappearing into thin air, numerous reshoots because of reflection that proved resistant to removal in post-production. As if that weren't enough, an unfortunate incident involving a robbery while still in a reshoot added another unexpected twist.
I really didn't expect that.
Shaken but not stirred, we picked up the pieces and started editing. But with some shots missing, we had to use some very clever editing to save this short movie and lift it to new heights. And we thought now is the perfect moment to share some of those valuable tips. Let's kick off with a topic I consider immensely important but often underestimated in both long and short movies: character building. Introducing the main character to the audience is crucial, but it's not enough to simply display them on the screen. They require a backstory, something that makes them feel genuine and relatable. This connection will forge a bond between the audience and the character. Naturally, achieving this is dependent on storytelling and how the character behaves in pivotal moments. However, you can also incorporate subtle elements within the edit. For instance, with the main character, we made a deliberate decision to portray him as an astronaut who isn't particularly adept for his job. He's a little bit clumsy. In the opening of our short film, we convey this by showing him holding a photo. Everyone else in the picture poses gracefully, but the character sneezes at that very moment. It's a subtle hint that he's not the best of the bunch. Apart from these visual cues and other subtle indications, we employed music to enhance the character building. Our short film begins with archival footage of the actual moon landing, or so they say. As these archival images play, an epic voiceover and an equally epic music accompany them. However, as we cut to the character, the grandiose music abruptly ceases, replaced by only the rumbling of the spacecraft and a lonely figure, sighing over the inability of capturing a single photograph. This dramatic shift from the grandeur to silence serves as a potent indication that the protagonist is anything but heroic. It's like an awkward silence, reinforcing his lack of epicness. While it may have been tempting to use funny music instead of silence to accentuate the silliness of the protagonist, we decided against it. We didn't want to make it too obvious and risk diluting the impact. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any melody. However, there are instances where funny music can work wonders. Take for example our Home Alone deepfake parody short. In this case, we employed humorous songs to accompany the villains. Each villain had their own catchy tune, contributing to their distinct character and making them more memorable and relatable for the audience. Now, as our short film progresses, the character of course undergoes personal growth and becomes more heroic. This transformation is further emphasized through the use of heroic music. However, the character remains true to his clumsy nature, inevitably eventually messing things up, but this time we maintain the accompanying epic music even during his fumbles and struggles. This creates a subtle, funny undertone, pairing the epic music with a person who appears to be utterly bumbling. The stark contrast produces a sense of silliness, and this will surely resonate with the audience. You can clearly see that the character building goes beyond just your story. Subtle references and music have a profound impact. That's precisely why choosing the right music is very important, and that's why we rely on our trusted friend Lick to provide us with the absolute best music to accompany our edits. Nothing is more powerful than using recognizable mainstream music, and Lick is the ultimate music shop with an extensive catalog tailored for content creators. By incorporating mainstream music into your edits, you create an instant connection with your audience. This leads to better retention, increased watch time, and a heightened engagement. We often receive comments about how we managed to license such a famous mainstream song. Well, we have Lick to thank for that. Using Lick will only benefit your videos, as the notorious algorithm likes nothing more than good engagement on a video, pushing it to more viewers. Moreover, the use of mainstream music not only elevates my videos on YouTube, but it also enhances the overall production value. It adds a level of professionalism that can be heard. Take for instance this short film, where I incorporated the iconic soundtrack of the original Blade Runner movie. Sometimes it's hard to believe I'm using the same music as in Hollywood blockbuster. And let me share the best part with you. When you use music from Licked, they protect you against copyright claims and demonetization. So instead of wasting any more time, start enhancing your content today with mainstream music. And guess what? If you sign up now, you'll receive an incredible discount, including 14 days of free stock music and a whopping 50% off your first mainstream track. If you want to learn more about Licked and how you can revolutionize your content creation, check out the first link in the description below. Have you ever wondered how the moon sounds? Well, there's actually no sound on the moon because there's no atmosphere, so the sound waves can't travel there. So how can we sound design it then? Should we leave it silent? That would be dreadfully boring to watch. However, we can't simply rely on traditional sound design either, so we delved into extensive research for our short film and we discovered some fantastic examples on how space is sound designed in movies like Interstellar, Gravity, the captivating Korean series The Silent Sea on Netflix. Now the last one is about a mission to the moon in search of water, and I mention it because they have some very genius sound design ideas for a space-themed production. Ultimately, what we learned was to create our own interpretation of how the moon would sound. Since the character is trapped in a spacesuit, we wanted to emphasize his isolation. The sounds emitting from the suit take the center stage, becoming more prominent and present. The breaths of the floating astronaut become a vital aspect as he traverses to the vastness of space. As for the other external sounds, we deliberately dulled them, relegating them to the background. And achieving this effect in Premiere Pro is actually super easy. All you need to do is navigate to the effects library and locate the parametric equalizer. Simply drag and drop this effect to the desired sound clip that you want to make more dull. Once applied, open up the parametric equalizer settings. Inside these settings, you'll find an array of options at your fingertips. To achieve the desired effect, we'll be using the generic low pass preset. Initially, it may not sound like much is happening, but fear not, as you gradually lower the frequency, you'll notice the sound becoming more progressively dull, exactly what we intended. Simple yet effective. This technique truly accentuates the fact that the astronaut is confined in a suit, trapped within this confinement. Additionally, for the long shots that capture the vastness of space, we added a subtle, low, almost silent humming sound. It creates an unnerving atmosphere, making the audience feel like a sense of discomfort, much like the astronaut is experiencing while he's floating alone in the void of space. By carefully crafting our own unique interpretation of space auditory landscape, we bring an immersive experience to our viewers and enhancing the overall impact of our short film. Now let's address another challenge we encountered while making our space movie. Gravity. On the moon, the reduced gravity gives everything a floating appearance. Recreating this effect convincingly is not an easy task. Let's again have a look at the series The Silent Sea. While they got many things right, their moon movements appear quite fake. This is because they shot everything in slow motion, making it too obvious. However, they were on the right track conceptually. We took that concept and made it work for us. First, we had to decide on the frame rate for shooting our short film. We settled on 30 frames per second. But here comes the twist. We didn't finish our short film in 30 frames per second, instead we opted to deliver it in 24 frames per second. Why, you ask? Well, to achieve the desired effect of floating movements, we needed the flexibility to slightly slow down certain shots. Using the speed ramp tool, we lowered the speed to around 80% of the normal speed. It's just enough to give the movements a sense of being performed in lower gravity without being overly noticeable or artificial. Naturally, we only applied the speed ramping techniques to the shots where the astronaut was in motion, like this shot of his lunar landing. Shots involving dialogue or static scenes didn't lend themselves quite well to this trick, as it would cause desynchronization between the audio and visual elements. Those were our short film editing tricks, and if you now have an urge to create your own short film, but you are new to filmmaking and still need to learn all the basics, be sure to check out our course on filmmaking, covering everything from beginner techniques to pro tips. You'll find the course details in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, thank you Lick for the support, and as always, stay creative.